A very good evening to everyone. Welcome. It's Monday night. This is SimRace South Africa. I am Ryan Hill with you in the commentary booth tonight. And as you can see from the background pictures, we are bringing you Super Tours tonight. Super Touring on Race Room. It's the sim that we've gone back to. We used to do Race Room way back in the day at SimRace South Africa. We dabbled in the DTM series many a year ago, if some of the veterans may remember, but otherwise it's back on the calendar this season, and we are trying out the Race Room's relatively new content, the Super Touring Car Pack that was introduced towards the end of last year. And I'm very excited to bring this action to you tonight. We're starting off a fresh new season with it. To ease the guys in, the entire season, consisting of 5 rounds, will be conducted purely on free race tracks. Just to kind of help with the cost side of things. Race Room is a freemium model, but it has a very small selection of free cars and tracks. So I think one of the Super Tours, it's about $100 or so, or just over, and that'll get you into the action. It's not too late to join as well. You're very welcome to follow our Discord. The links are in the description down below, and we'll get you hooked up. On with the formalities for tonight. Just looking at the track layouts. So tonight we're at one of Raceway's or Race Room's fictional tracks called Raceway-Bridge, and not much more I can tell you about that track otherwise, but there's a mini layout, so to speak, on the screen now, and I'll also just be helping showcase one of the hot laps from when we hop into qualifying with one of the drivers as well. In terms of proceedings for tonight, we have a qualifying session of I think 10 minutes, and then immediately followed by 2 back-to-back races. Race 1 is a 20-minute sprint race held at noon. Weather is clear, sunny, and then race 2 is a 45-minute feature race, so a bit longer. And what's interesting is that the top 10 coming out of race 1 will be reversed for race 2, and the time of day is set to afternoon, so a little bit later, a little bit more shadows, but otherwise weather being quite clear. In terms of championship standings, I mean, this is round 1 all to play for right now. Here is how the lineup is tonight. There is a variety of Super Tours on track. We have the Audi A4, we have the Honda Accord, the BMW 320i, and I think Wesley Ferrant is in the lone Volvo S40. Drivers are also able to pick from the, I think it's the Volvo 800 series, 850 maybe, but no one has selected that here tonight. Strong showing out in the Audi, quite a few BMWs, quite a few Hondas, so yeah, looking to see what will prevail. In terms of HLQ time, so drivers initially did hot lap qualifying on a different track just to commence the season warm-up. But here on screen you are seeing lap times that were clocked on the official Race Room leaderboards, and it's actually a global leaderboard. So nice to see the top 7 drivers from our community, let alone South Africa, all just topping those times. I'm ahead of the next P8 of a Canadian and then a German, Rudy Muller. But yeah, a couple of familiar names that you'll see there scattered about the leaderboards, and the times there tonight, anywhere from a 1:15, pretty much dead, down to hardest clocking a 1:18. It's difficult to see the thumbnail. I think it's the BMW at the bottom, but the Audis are certainly at the top, I think, tonight. So favorites, no doubt. And without further ado, let's just cut to the live pictures and start bringing you what we see on track tonight. There's obviously just confirmation again of the weather and the track system we have out there. Raceway-Bridge. The air temperature is set at 20 degrees today, and the track temperature is warmed up quite nicely to 30 degrees. Nice and sticky. There's a small breeze, 3 kilometers per hour. It's really not going to affect anything whatsoever. And of course, dry conditions forecasted throughout. There's another minute of practice left, and then we're going to be clocking over to a 10-minute quali session. It's going to look fairly busy out there on track, I would say, today. And there we can see a couple of cars, a nice sort of picture there actually across the water there, just coming past the start finish line. And the grid looking pretty healthy. We're expecting about 18 drivers tonight. I can see about 16 have already put in laps in the practice. I think there are a couple of cars sitting in the pits, and we'll bringing you all the action very shortly throughout. Also just want to say a big shout out to all our sponsors again this year for SimRace Africa, starting with our gold partner JooTech Simworks, logo in the bottom left. Their links are all in the description of the video. They are gratefully, they're providing us with the capability to host these races on the simracing.gp platform. Excuse me. And then a big shout out as well, bottom left hand corner of your screen, ALM Solutions and Ashley Wilson for sponsoring our practice servers as we go through, in particular for ACC, where we have over 100 drivers signed up for our league, split into 3 divisions. But there we go, practice session is coming to a close. Qualifying is now officially started. There the helicam just panning over the platform, and drivers peeling out of the pits. It is a full standing start for both race but also qualifying conditions. The drivers need to put themselves out into space. I'm going to cut over to the order director and here and just see currently following Nick Hodson in his Rothmans Audi. That's another thing I'm really loving with Race Room. Just it's really nice. Really nice to see all the historic liveries very much in spirit, but represented very well. There's the BMW, in fact, lined up alongside. I think that is Sheldon Agullis in the EnviroCar BMW BP livery. And you'll know that as Van der Linde, historic back in the day, raced that. And that was, of course, Sean van der Linde, who took part in the 1995 South African Touring Car Championship. That car debuted at Kyalami, with van der Linde having used an earlier car prior to then, I think. But yeah, that BMW 3 Series 320i rear-wheel drive, which is very interesting here as well. A wide variety in the car manufacturers and the homologations of what they're actually using. So BMW rear-wheel drive, of course. Sas van der Veste is out there in a Honda Accord. Currently put in... Oh, there's a big drift. And through goes Jonathan Benz past as well for Ghostworks Racing, Yellow Design Co. And just shout out to Maritz Opperman in chat. Of course, the Audis, he says, are looking strong. I believe so. they are favorites to win tonight. Four-wheel drive. So that all-wheel drive off the line in particular, they're going to have an amazing launch under race conditions, and just the drive out of the corners as well. Roxanne Bartle coming around in her BP livery, BMW. And across the line, clocks are 118.97. That's pretty much an outlap as far as I understand. Expecting that time to drop. Look at the chicane as well. Those sausage curbs are going to prove very challenging for drivers. I've also been made aware that it's quite easy to roll your car over some of the sausage curbs around the circuit, so very tricky conditions. Michael Klein from Germany joining us on track for the RRVGT Roadhouse Racing team out there in the yellow and red Audi. And Wesley Ferrand in the front wheel drive Volvo S40. This would be, if I were to be driving here today, Volvo would be my favorite, just in terms of car handling and dynamic, and such a forgiving car to be able to drive out of the corners with. You know, you just sort of front wheel drive, you're pointed in the direction you want to go and press the loud pedal, and it kind of follows suit. And currently sitting in 14th position, Wesley goes across the line with a 1:16.847, which puts him up into 9th position. 10th, actually, he's just been dethroned. I think that is by Rudy Opperman, who comes through in the Honda Accord Mobile One gold champagne livery. Benson and Hedges sponsorship on the side. And yeah, very easy to get this Honda sideways as well, which Ricky Debot in chat is also just pointing out. But what another epic livery that one is as well. Let's just have a quick scooch through the rest of the field, see who's out there. So Sheldon Nagalis, we've mentioned. Sasso Nevestes and currently struggling in P17. Mike Leroux in his Audi has yet to set a lap, but he's coming across the line, so let's see what he clocks in. P16 up to P1, he takes provisional pole position with a 1:15.210. You saw the sector times there. Sector 1 and 2 were both purple, so that is going to take some beating. Nick Hodgson currently second P2, perhaps the only other person to be able to take that challenge to Mike right now. From what we've seen in his Audi, can it be done? I'm looking for those sector times, but I fear they may only reveal themselves once he crosses the line final. So let's stick with them here and see what he's able to achieve. 4 minutes left of quali. Up into about 210 kilometers an hour at the end of that back straight, just leading through the bridge section of the tunnel and across the line. 1:15.237. In fact, that was his outlap, because the clock's only just started ticking for him now. So apologies. We'll come back to Nick Hodgson. Let's see. Greg Hofart's currently in 3rd position. He has a 1:15.45 personal best to beat. And that is 0.240 seconds down on Nick Hodgson. And in fact, has just been displaced rather by Mikhail Matthews in the BMW. He's put himself right up there, and that is awesome to see, sliding and aggressively over the curbs. The Castrol blue, green and red livery BMW, I love it. BMW Italia, lovely aggressive over those curbs there actually. We'll continue. Oh, as I panned away, they almost got rolled there, some air. And let's quickly continue through the field. James Leach is doing very well for himself up in P5 currently. I'm very happy to see James on the server. I know he's had some connection issues in the past, so hopefully they've been resolved, or at least staying away for tonight for him. Ross Bartle is out there in another Honda. Lovely livery on this one as well. White, black and red, and Jonathan Bentz, we've said hello to. Wesley Sass, Renier Leach, another Rothmans livery Audi, currently in P10, looking to improve. He's got a 116.5. That is a respectable time. It's all close up here at the sharp end of the field, top 10. Emily Bentz is out there as well. Michael Klein currently in the pits. Rudy Opperman looking to improve, still in P13. Martin Grunewald in another one of the BMWs out there. He's coming across the very fast. Look at the top speed that BMW gets down the straight. That was up to about just shy of 230 kilometers an hour. I'm very sure that was faster than what the Audis were achieving. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But he goes across the line with a doesn't improve, 117.188. Roxanne Bartle, sister to Ross Bartle. Interesting to see a different car selection, a bit of a wiggle there in the BMW. Ross Bartle in the Honda. Roxanne has opted for the BMW. Mazlan Gumanda out there in one of the Audis tonight. He's just getting started and warmed up. I think 118.5 his best. He's coming across the line now, paced by one of the Hondas, and he slightly improves to a 118.35 to cement that P16 for now. Sheldon McGullis is out there on a hot lap, just coming through the first set of chicanes, and Patrick Lingley joins us as well on track out there in another Audi for Lingley Racing. DHL livery, red, blue, white and yellow. Keep an eye out for that one. And we are in the dying half a minute left of qualifying. Mike LaRue sort of further improves his time. Best lap being a 1:15, and there it is. Qualifying is officially over. The times are up on your screen. Mike LaRue, the 1:15.210. Look how close Mikhail Matthews is, 1:15.215. That is 0.005 of a second behind Mike LaRue's stellar effort. Nick Hodgson is also up there, 1:15.237. Greg Hofbart takes home 4th position. James Leach 5th. Jonathan Bentz 6th. Ross Bartle 7th. Wesley Front 8th. Renier Leach 9th. And Sas van der Westhuizen rounds out the top 10 for Black Owl SimSports Racing. Right, it is now the formation. Drivers will be sorting out their pit stop strategies, if there are going to be, or at least their car setups just for the first of our races tonight. It's a 20-minute sprint race. There are no mandatory pit stops in any of the races tonight. I don't expect any in the first race. There might be some in the second race, just in terms of tire wear and fuel wear on these cars. There, the grid is forming as we speak. Once all the drivers have joined the grid, the race will commence. Here we go. Red lights are on, waiting for the green. Mike LaRue will lead the pack. There it is, they're off. The Audis have a great launch. That BMW is getting a little bogged down. And we will see just on the helicam here just how much of an advantage Mike LaRue has already heading into that first left-hander. And around the field, let's just try and get a little bit of a further back view. It looks like a relatively clean start by the field. James Leach is already going offensive on the inside in the yellow Audi. But has to concede there's a little bit of contact behind. In fact, James Leach gets a little bit sideways, but manages to recover very well. We'll go back to TV camera footage in a sec, just heading through the bridge section, or the tunnel rather. And they will be heading through very shortly. Mikhail Matthews hanging on to that second place. Nick Hodgson P3 again, no changes. They'll be filing through over the bridge. Very curious to see the sort of top speed that Mike LaRue gets here in his Audi. Currently at 220 before he has to slam on anchors. On board now with Mikhail Matthews in the BMW. He's just got passed by Nick Hodson. Can he take that position back? That must have happened in the tunnel, else I missed it. We're getting a few slowdown penalties from the stewards you see flashing on your screen, but almost cleared almost immediately, so I think they're extremely small marginal. Bit of a wiggle there from Mikhail Matthews. We've just headed back onto Nick Hodson now. Martin Kurnovolt meanwhile gets a slowdown penalty for track limits abuse, as does Jonathan Bentz. Through the tunnel they are coming. Nick trying to hunt down Mike LaRue in the Audis whilst fending off Mikhail Matthews behind. Hard on the brakes there at the bottom of the back straight. Following Mikhail Matthews in the BMW, the Castrol livery. Across the start-finish line, Greg Hofart with another slowdown penalty. Through the chicane, keeping it nice and tidy. Mikhail Matthews in P3 pushing quite hard. He had a minor slowdown penalty there across the board. We are now on board with Wesley Ferrant in the Volvo S40 in P11, currently looking to get that coveted P10 position that will allow him to have essentially a pole position start in race 2 tonight with that top 10 reverse grid. Look at this tight field here actually in the mid-pack. A little bit wide there, Wesley. And he is all over the back though. And James Leach, big wiggle there in front of James Leach. That's Emily Bentz in the yellow Audi with James Leach in the silver with the red logos. He's looking to execute an overtake pass here. Emily Bentz just going defensive. Wesley Front now with a slowdown penalty. Quick look here at what's going on with the mid-pack. In fact, let's try and go on board. Is that Sas van der Westhuizen? Just trying to find where that action was happening on track. It's in his rear. In fact, that's the BMW of Roxanne Bartle on the hunt behind him. Where meanwhile Ross Bartle gets a slowdown penalty in the Honda. Currently up into P5, but Kyle Matthews is falling down the order. And, I'm not sure if that was just to serve a slowdown penalty. I see a couple of them tracking in the right-hand side of your screen. But meanwhile, look at this Emily Bentz here. It's a little bit of contact with Wesley Brandt there, side by side. In the action cam here, heading down the back straight. And Wesley Ferrant's actually executed that pass. So a great move there for Wesley Ferrant. A little bit of argy-bargy, but that's what we love about Super Tours and in reality race room. There's some big contact down at the bottom of this track. And let's see, where has the Wesley ended up after that contact? He's still like he's ahead. Emily Bentz has fallen down the track, and I think just recovering now. So I think in the bottom of that corner, cameras were struggling a little. It was probably turned around, and now has some positions to make up. In terms of making up positions as well, Ronier Leach has done very nicely for himself, up 3 positions from the start of this race, currently sitting in P6. He is looking to hunt down Ross Bartle in that Honda ahead of him right now. It's an Audi 1, 2, 3, 4. Ross Bartle in the Honda is the first non-Audi manufacturer sitting in P5. Just looking here, we have John O'Bence and Greg Hofbart going at it. And that's Greg Hofbart looking over the rear wing of Greg Hofbart onto the back of John O'Bence. Close up under braking. Mike Larue, meanwhile, also gets a minor slowdown penalty as he's trying to hunt down Nick Hudson, who's actually taken the lead of this race. So much happening, it's just difficult to keep up with it all. Sliding around now back, Jonathan Bence is on the back of Greg Hofbart. James Leach getting a minor slowdown penalty. That's cleared almost immediately. Just a little bit of a chance to breathe here with the field settling down, with coming up to the halfway mark, but 12 minutes left of this 20-minute sprint. Down the long back straight they go over the bridge. The BMWs definitely have a pace advantage down the straight. The BMWs clocking about 236 kilometers an hour. Audi's only reaching about 212, I think, but they just have so much advantage out of the corners, this four-wheel drive. Look at this on board here. John O'Bence looking to exert some pressure on Greg Hofbart through the chicane, sliding around, riding them quite nicely. Can't be too aggressive over these curbs. Ooh, big sideways moment there for Renier Leach in the Rothmans livery. Oh, and a wiggle again. It's really fighting that Audi he is. Looking to close up on the back of that Honda. Mike Larue, meanwhile, will go back with him. Venomworks Racing. It's coming through the chicanes now. It looks like Mikhail Matthews has dropped all the way back down to 8th position. Sliding that BMW around. Nick Hudson currently has the fastest lap of the race, 1:15.144. Out there in front now, he has clear air. As Greg Hofart's reporting has gone off track, but seems to be under control right now. Here we have the Rothmans livery of Renier Leach looking to get a nice draft off the back of Ross Bartle's Honda. Can he make that work? Open into the chicane. Aggressive over that curb, tries, so he gets a bit of a unsettling the car there. You notice he has to fight the car back under control. Drivers have to brake quite hard for this corner in particular. Look again, just fighting that wheel to stay in control. Mike Larue now has closed the gap to Nick Hudson incredibly. Almost neck and neck now, the fight for the lead of this race. And Mike Larue is in there with the long back straight here. Can he get enough of a draft to take it up the inside of Nick Hudson, who's going to come around in front for the main start finish straight now? It's a bit of a drag race, but it looks like Mike's slipping in behind there. John O'Bence has just taken that position away from Greg Hofbart. Jono racing for Ghostworks Racing. We're back with the leaders here now, Mike Larue and Nick Hudson. On board with Mike Larue coming through the chicane. Ooh, actually seems to... Oh, was that just differing lines here from Nick and Mike? A little bit of a... trying to defend versus maybe it was even unintentional. Through the tunnel, over the hill. It's really quite a fast, flowy track, this race from Raceway-Bridge. And again, a little bit sideways there, Greg Hofart's just sliding that Audi around. Him and John O'Bence, both in the yellow Audis, looking quite close to each other in terms of pace. I can tell you that Greg Hofart, the average lap is 1:16.314, and John O'Bence's average lap is 1:16.055. I have consistency ratings for you as well. Nick Hodson out in front, 89.83, Mike LaRue 90.77, so a little bit more consistent Mike LaRue. In terms of fastest laps, Nick still has it, of course, 1:15.14, Mike's 1:15.386. We're on board here with James Leach, P6 position, looking to take it onto the Honda of Ross Bartle. James Leach actually has a very fast average lap, 1:15.81. That's very competitive. We'll keep an eye on those proceedings, but we hop back to the leaders here, Mike LaRue and Nick Hodson, as we see Greg Hofart get a slowdown penalty. Very easy to exceed track limits here in Race Room. They're very strict, as we say. Wesley Ferrant also gets a minus slowdown penalty. Here with the shorter gap, Mikhail Matthews, and he's just executed that pass to Michael Klein. You can see if we can have a look at that situation. Michael Klein is actually fallen right back down. Ross Bartle now is about half a second behind James Leach, and he will have Rainier Leach for company behind him in a bit of a Leach sandwich. Mike LaRue 0.69 seconds behind Nick Hodson, slightly falling behind now. Nick has a little bit of space to breathe again, but really not much if it's under a second. Do see Sheldon Nagullis has unfortunately DNF'd out of this race. He is sitting in the pit, remaining in the server, which is the right thing to do. He should be able to take part in the 45-minute feature race, provided he doesn't leave the server. That's my understanding. Wesley Ferrant in the white Volvo S40 coming up on the back of Michael Klein's yellow Audi. This is Rainier Leach on board in his Audi, looking at the back of that Honda, Ross Bartle. There are a couple of other cars tonight, some drivers that couldn't make it, and Brett Krokamp is another one in one of the Hondas, and Mark van Rensburg in a BMW 320i E36 couldn't make it tonight. So nice to see some additional non-Audis that will be coming through, hopefully making it to round 2. In terms of the remaining events in this season, we are going to Sepang North Circuit for the next round. Then we're off to Portimao in Portugal. Then we're back to the South Circuit on Sepang for round 4, and then to have a season finale we'll be back at the Race Room Raceway, but the Grand Prix layout, which is a little bit longer, and the track corner configuration is a little different. Meanwhile, we're still trying to see who can fight for P1 position here. Mike LaRue on the back of Nick Hodson. That gap was 0.7 last time we looked. It's 0.4 now. So maybe catching up ever so slightly. In fact, look, that's Mikhail Matthews executing a pass on Rainier Leach. And look at the Hondas go side by side. This is Sas van der Vestes and the Rudy Opperman. Sas for Black Owl Sim Sports Racing. He is trying his darndest to get past Rudy Opperman. Rudy Opperman over the rear wing. privateer, just racing for himself right now. Sas van der Westhuizen for Black Owl SimSports. But both selected the Mobile One Benson and Hedges champagne colored. Shout out to Zondort, Stephen, Kenny in our chat. Even one of the owners and operators of JooTech Simworks, our gold sponsor, of course, introduced at the beginning of the vids. Over the hill, Rene Leach goes P8 position, 0.8 seconds behind Mikhail Matthews. Mikhail's also caught up quite nicely to the back of Ross Bartle. As we flick to him, watching them go through the chicane. Oh, and as we say that, Ross Bartle in the Honda has got a slowdown penalty. This could close the gap for Mikhail Matthews through the chicane. He's also got a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Big traffic at this is all for positions. Essentially, the field has just managed to bunch up a little bit as they head into the tunnel, managing to keep it inside the track limits. And running quite wide there off to the side. In fact, I think that is a back marker just getting out of the way. Could have been Maslan Govender, I think. Did a good job of just lifting slightly off the racing line. The best way to do it. Roxanne Bartle has a second slowdown penalty in a number of seconds. So pushing a little bit too much there. Roxanne, let's have a look at how she's doing over here in one of the BMWs. We'll go on board for a while just to sort of get an idea of the driver's eye perspective. We can go onto a little bit of a bonnet cam perhaps. Not the best view with that little wiper there, I guess, but we'll see what we can do. This is the final right-hand corner before the pit, the main straight. Finish line coming up. See how she gets in through the first set of corners. This is a chicane with a quick left, right. Attack those curves fairly aggressively. They're not too elevated. James Leach meanwhile gets a slowdown penalty. This next left, right chicane is quite tricky. You've got to brake. And over the hill, the elevation changed quite a long right-hander. You can very easily lose the rear of the car, in particular the BMWs, the rear-wheel drive. And you've got to keep it nice and tidy for those track limits before the tunnel section. On her way, Mikhail Matthews side by side with Ross Bartle in the Honda. That has grabbed the position, as far as I can tell. Yep, nicely done actually in the end. Take that position away from Ross Bartle. We're in the dying 40 seconds of this race. Can Mikhail Matthews take this back? Defend rather against Ross Bartle. Can he take it back? Honda against BMW. 28 seconds left. Remember, the top 10 positions are the coveted positions to be reversed. As we say that, P10 Wesley Brown gets a slowdown penalty. How close is he to Rudy Opperman? I think he's got a healthy enough gap to not need to worry about that, so I think he will get away with that slowdown penalty for now. But 8 seconds left to go. And we have Nick Hodgson. As the clock hits 0, he is coming down the main back straight. So he's going to be rounding the corner and take the inaugural victory for the Sim Race Africa SimTC Round 1 Championship. Look at the weave, the excitement. He takes race 1 victory. He gains 2 positions up there from the start. Mike Curry, pole position, and comes back home in 2nd position. Jono Benz crosses the line for a solid podium roundout for Ghostworks Racing. Really nice to see Jono Benz back at the field. I know that both him and Emily Benz are big fans of Race Room Raceway. Greg Hofart takes home P4 position. James Leach in the Audi, so it's a top 5 all Audis. James Leach takes home P5. Mikhail Matthews in the first of the other manufacturers, the BMW, solid P6. Enjoyed watching Macau tonight, sliding BMW around, trying to push exceedingly. Ross Bartle already in the pits there, took home P7. Renier Leach P8, and an Audi. Macau Kleins Audi is P9, and Wesley Ferrand in the Volvo takes home that final top 10 position to net himself a pole position start for the second race, which is coming up very shortly. Don't go anywhere. We've got a 45-minute feature race to come. Expect to see different strategies. I feel like there may be some pit stops happening as well. We'll be back in a minute. Go back here, literally at the start of race 2. Wesley Ferrand has taken pole position. The lights are red and blinking, and away they go. And it's a decent start by Wesley here, and he has got to defend off Michael Klein, and that Audi looking to come across there. Wesley just to get the wide as possible angle through that corner and have as much speed as possible. There's a little bit of argy-bargy behind. We're just going to go and have a look. It's the two Audis side by side. There's John O'Bence in the yellow and grey Audi as well. But it generally looks like the field has got away pretty cleanly. Is that James Leach? Yes. And Mike LaRue fighting side by side, and that's Ross Bartle in the Honda falling back a little bit as well. We're on board here with Greg Hofart looking in P9 up at the rest of the fields. It's quite a hectic start through the field by everyone, but Wesley Ferrand has managed to retain his lead in that Volvo S40. We're seeing Greg Hofart with a mini slowdown penalty. And side by side here, Sasfin de Vesthuizen in his champagne-coloured Honda, rounding the final corner there, followed closely by Rudy Opperman in the other champagne-coloured Honda. Over the hill, they are literally side by side. That's Emily Bence tucking herself in front. Sass tucks in behind, looks to get a draft up and under and over the hill. Slowing nicely for the chicane. They are coming through at pace. Wesley Ferrand, so we didn't catch it on camera, has been overtaken by the Audi of Michael Klein. He has Renier Leach and Mike LaRue behind him. Speaking of Mike LaRue, on board through the tunnel section. Mike LaRue looking very pacey in that Audi. Sparks flying out of Renier Leach's Audi ahead of him. Emily Bence getting a slowdown penalty alongside Mike LaRue as well, so he just dragged it slightly wide there. And won't need to give back too much time. A small minor lift is all that's needed really to get rid of that. And a long train of cars coming down the back straight here. What are the maximum speeds? I'm seeing 222 roughly by the Audis, up to 236 or so by the BMWs. Tucked in here, look at this Renier on the back of Wesley. Wesley's going defensive up the inside, but this is going to cause little problems for the left-hand turn now. Is he enough in front? I think he is, and he slips through. Good racing there by the pack. Mike LaRue up in P3 here. Sorry, Renier Leach has just overtaken him in P3. Mike LaRue on the back. but feathering that throttle up and over the long right-hander. This is a tricky corner to get right. Can easily spat the car out wide. Through the tunnel section, he has to just get out of the way there just to avoid contact and running into the back of them. They're basically side by side through the tunnel section. Ooh, a little bit sideways as well. Almost crabbing around, I think. A little bit of a lag into the BMW. Mikhail Matthews getting very squiggly, and thrown wide is Jono Benz, I believe. Another 41 minutes of this. And Mikhail Matthews, I think, just dropping down a little bit. He is side by side drag racing right now. And Nick Hodson also just trying to make his way through. There's some heavy contact. And both cars managed to keep going in the same direction. So excellent job just to retain control there. Nick Hodson, and I'm not quite sure he was banging wheels with. But here we are, Mikhail Matthews sort of boxed in here. With Jono Benz on the right-hand side in the yellow Audi, and just in front of them, Renier Leach in the blue and white Audi. Just chucking it through. Jason Luck in chat shouting for Mike LaRue. Currently holding that P3 position. A long way to go here, and he looks like he's under a significant amount of pressure by Renier Leach behind him. And over the hill. Very interesting right now. Renier Leach is looking super pacey. He's got the fastest lap, 1:15.9. We have got some faster drivers from race 1 down the order, but with traffic it's always going to be difficult to improve. Part of what makes the reverse racing so great, as Mike LaRue looks up the inside of Wesley Front on the Volvo. He's going to have the pull of that four-wheel drive, spinning him up the hill, and takes that position away from Wesley Front. There's still a bit of a drag race down the main straight here, but I do believe Wesley's going to be... Ooh, is he going to be tucking it in? I say that. Over the hill. What a pass through the chicane. Slips in front of Mike LaRue. What an excellent move. Kept it clean. Stunning driving from all these drivers. In fact, look at the three of them. Wesley Front, Mike LaRue, Renier Leach going at it. Stunning driving. And behind them, you can see Jono Benz is also under attack. Jono in the yellow Audi, of course, under attack by James Leach in the silver Audi. Speaking of silver Audis, Mike LaRue up the inside. And that is past Wesley Front now. Look at that gaggle of cars coming through though. Wesley with the draft. Pulls out left. Can he take it around the outside of the final turn here? Or cut back in on Mike LaRue, who's hugging that inside defensive line. And he's got, James Leach side by side. That Volvo is getting swamped by the Audis right now. Excellent racecraft there by Wesley in the Volvo, side by side through the chicane, but he's getting mugged by the Audis. Jono Benz in the yellow. And now he's side by side with, I think that's Nick Hodson. Nick Hodson barging his way through in the Audi, and Mikhail Matthews, BMW, comes through as well. And that's the Honda of Ross Bartle. Wesley getting absolutely mugged out there right now. Greg Hofart now in the yellow and red. Oh, there's been an incident here. We've cut through to the back of Rudy Opperman in the Champagne. Honda just letting, it looks like Emily Benz through there. From my understanding, what it looked like is Rudy was letting Emily through, which is sort of an acknowledgement of guilt. So here we back up though with Nick Hodson going up the inside of Jono Benz for a nice pass here down into the final corner. Up and over the hill we have another drag race down the front start finish line. Going at the front straight, I guess, as opposed to the back straight through the tunnel. Now Matthews settling in P7. Oh, aggressive use of curb there, but also John O'Bence running very wide over the curbs there, and that's just allowed Mikhail Matthews to slip through. Greg Hobart, meanwhile, on the back of Ross Bartle. Through the tunnel section. Audio will be reverberating off those walls. And a slowdown penalty to John O'Bence and James Leach. Sideways there a little bit. Mikhail Matthews on board in the BMW. Can he take it to the Audis? Gaining. Look at the top speed in the bottom right-hand corner. It's 220-ish, and he has to kind of slam on anchors. It's a bit of quite a DRS tray in these cars. Obviously, you don't have DRS, but that draft is so powerful down the back straight. James Leach gets another slowdown penalty, continuing to abuse track limits, is the steward's decision. I think that may be a slightly longer penalty if it continues to happen. Greg Hobart gets a slowdown penalty, not excessive yet, according to the stewards. Martin Quinnevolt's one with now as well. LaRue, meanwhile, up in P2, we're watching on board, has posted the fastest lap. It's just happened, 1:15.731. So he is absolutely flying and looking to take this fight to Michael Klein. Down the back straight now. Can Mike get a significant draft and chuck it up the inside? It looks like he is. He's going up the inside. And he has taken that position as we flick over to Ross Bartle. Nick Hudson, meanwhile, has got a slowdown penalty as well. Oh, James Leach just got disqualified for ignoring a drive-through penalty. That was probably for the excessive track cut event from earlier. Perhaps he just didn't see that warning or penalty pop up on his screen. Sad and unfortunate to see. Better luck next time, James. Mikhail Matthews in the BMW just chucking it through that chicane now. Bence with another slowdown, as does Nick Hudson. Ooh, big slide there under the brakes. You heard the lockup. Renier Leach just almost collecting the back of Nick Hudson. Wesley Ferrant's going side by side here with Ross Bartle. This is for battle for P7. Just behind them, the yellow Audi of Greg Hobart, yellow and red. Mikhail Matthews gets a slowdown penalty again. This battle here in the mid-pack, developing Mikhail Matthews, some of the closest action on track right now. He is all over the back of Renier Leach. And he does have John O'Bence for company as well. These three, neck and neck. O'Bence gets squeezed into the wall. Greg Hobart and Wesley Ferrant. It's a bit of a drag race here on the exit of the tunnel, and good space I think offered there for both cars, both on entry and exit. It looked alright. There's a car's width. And down the back straight now. It's a very long back straight. Hudson and Michael Klein has just been passed by Mike Leroux up front, but Nick Hodson is right here to try and pick up some scraps. Michael Klein for Roadhouse Racing. He's going to have to try and defend. Oh, aggressive curb usage yet again there. A little bit further down, McCall Matthews with another minor slowdown penalty. Ooh, all sorts of sideways and collected very well by Rainier Leach. You can see just in the foreground there on the background, McCall Matthews, this Castrol BMW, just sort of lurking. We've got another position change, I think. Michael Klein, Nick Hodson. Side-by-side drag race here, Jono Bent. Nick Hodson and Michael Klein are also fighting up front here. You can see them in the front of your picture on board. Jono Bent's getting a good view of that action. And Nick Hodson just managing to keep that position ahead and away from Michael Klein for the time being. They are neck and neck into the first corner, the left-right chicane. Nick Hodson gets a slowdown penalty. He's going to have to lift ever so slightly. And that's Jono Bent's coming through on Rainier Leach, I believe. Was it? No, apologies. Jono Bent's is behind. He's got the grey bonnet. There's two yellow Audis in the mix here. Oh, a little bit of contact on the back there, I think. And Jono Bent's onto Rainier Leach, but they're effectively side by side through the tunnel. Rainier Leach doing really well to hang on to that position. Michael Klein on screen. Look at the BMW sliding there. That's McCall Matthews. The rear-wheel drive BMW is very loose on that back end. And he's just looking to hang on to the back of these guys and try and get that draft. Jono Bent, meanwhile, has just overtaken Rainier Leach for position 4. Emily Bentz with another slowdown penalty for track limits abuse. Down in P13. What's interesting is, Sheldon Nagullis has just had a moment at the wall. Let's see, he was disqualified in race 1, but he manages to get going again in race 2. Leading this race, but he did just get a slowdown penalty, as does Jono Bent. So all these drivers really pushing, feeling the pressure. A little bit of looked like a little bit of crabbing there. I think it was just a lag incident rather than a drift by Rainier Leach in front of McCall Matthews. Trying his best to stay tucked in behind you. There's the long back straight over the named bridge, the Raceway-Bridge. Trying desperately to get that overlap. Does McCall Matthews take the inside line down into the final corner and up the hill? You can see him having some opposite lock there. Great car control, but he is under attack by Rainier Leach here down the start-finish straight now. And, switching to the inside, McCall Matthews switching to the outside, goes through the chicane. A little bit of aggressive curb usage. Rudy Opperman, meanwhile, slowdown penalty further back down the field. Drivers flicking it left and right through the field. Not sure what that's Stewart's decision. I just saw it flick through there, but Michael Klein, I can see, gets another one. I think it was Ross Bartle and Sass both getting some minor slowdown penalties. Fastest lap of the race is now Nick Hodson, who's just posted 1:15.516. Nick Hodson consistency is a 97.75 right now. The highest consistency on track. It's actually quite a few drivers with about 98%. I see Rainier Leach is one of them, Sass van der Veste is in another, Roxanne Bartle, Martin Groenewold's all in the 98%. Nice and consistent. But right now, it's Nick Hodson in P2 looking to hunt down Mike LaRue in Audi versus Audi. On board here with Mikhail Matthews in the BMW, looking to take it to Michael Klein in the yellow and red Audi in front. He's gotten past Renier Leach, looking to slot that BMW into a podium position. Pretty much at the halfway mark of this race, 26 minutes left out of 45 at the start. Michael Klein, Mikhail Matthews again, sort of side by side. Battle here for P3. Michael Klein in the yellow Audi. Keep an eye on it. Mikhail Matthews in this BMW Castrol livery. Just behind him is Renier Leach as well in the mix. Renier Leach actually sailing past Mikhail Matthews. Mikhail Matthews, you can see it there in the top right. The steward's decision was a slowdown penalty for track limit abuse there, so that cost him in the end, with Renier Leach being able to get past. Jono Benz is keeping an eye on these proceedings as well. In P6, he's got a little bit of time to catch up. Matthews gets another slowdown penalty, so they're really pushing that BMW to its limits here. Look at that aggressive through there, sliding through. Working extremely hard here. Renier Leach now tucked in behind Michael Klein. Look at the speed differential. He pulls to the outside as Michael Klein rightfully goes defensive up the inside, but we know, can he sail it around the inside and up the hill now, the final corner? I think Michael Klein has done well to defend that. He's going to be under a lot of pressure here for this first turn. It's the chicane. Renier Leach is already pulling to the inside. Does he have enough of an overlap? He's going for a dive. Nope, he's conceded and flipped back in behind. Mikhail Matthews as well. Settled almost with those chicanes, and look at this. Renier Leach has a slowdown penalty, but it's actually Michael Klein in the yellow. He seems unfazed by it. I think Renier's still got to serve it. There he's serving it now, surely. It's a little bit of a lift, which has allowed Michael Klein to just stay in front. In fact, it's still, there we go. Renier's is cleared. Martin Kronevold gets one instead. All side by side. In heavy contact here, Jono Benz. I think that's Mikhail Matthews' BMW alongside. This 22 odd minutes into this race, and this mid-pack is still tight. Neck and neck, side by side. Leach trying to defend now against Jono Benz behind. Aslan Gander in P15 getting a slowdown penalty as well. Renier Leach with another slowdown penalty. That's in this mix of cars we're seeing right now. Oh, on the back of Jonathan Benz on board. That's the back of Renier Leach, who seems to have cleared his penalty, I think. Ross Bartle a little bit further down in the Honda in P11. There you can see it at the top end of your screen, the white and black and red Honda. It's a small slowdown penalty as well. Down the back straight here, Mikhail Matthews again. What can he make of Jono Benz Audi ahead of him? Can he get a good drive out of the final corner? Just keeping an eye on the leadership battle here. Nick Hodson in P2 is about a half a second behind Mike LaRue. It's not much at all, and it does look like they're coming up to some traffic now, but it did look like they were pulling over just to remain out of that contender or avoid disrupting that fight. Meanwhile, Renia Leach side by side with Jono Benz. A little bit of an overlap through the chicane. He's going to have to back out of it, and oh, look at that. Ooh. Wow, that was amazing to avoid contact there, but there's certainly some track limits being exceeded there, but I think it was out of necessity to avoid some contact. Also being unsettled by the curbs here. Nick Hodson, look at the side-by-side with Mike LaRue. This is for the lead of the race. The closest these two drivers have been yet in race 2. Down the back straight. Does Nick have enough of an overlap? He's going for the dive up the inside. But Mike LaRue retains that position, so I had to take over the auto director there. Swapped away just as things were getting good. Jono Benz. Oh, that's Mikhail Matthews pointing the wrong direction. Sure what happened to Mikhail Matthews, but he's been turned around out of that fight. Jono Benz, meanwhile, we were all over the back of Michael Klein. In fact, there's an overtake opportunity here. So they go side by side. And I think Jono Benz is going to slip through just before the chicane. Mike LaRue gets a slowdown penalty here. Nick Hodson is looking to catch up to Mike. 20 minutes left. Side by side again, these two Audis, Michael Klein and Jono Benz, coming up the back straight. The tire compound just being shown on screen there. It's a soft compound for everyone tonight. Don't think there is much choice variation in these cars actually at all. And this was interesting. I think I heard the pits being activated there. I might be wrong. Sheldon Nagullis meanwhile just oh, Renia Leach has a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So it was Renia Leach in the pits. I think he's exited the pits, but he's gonna need to serve a drive-through for speeding in the pit. So didn't manage to master the pit stop, the pit speed control on your wheel. Maybe he hasn't mapped a button for it and was trying to do it manual. Limiter is the word I'm looking for. Jono Benz gets another slowdown penalty. But he is all over the back of Michael Klein. I do want to try and see where Renia Leach is going to come out again. He is in the pits, I think, right now as we speak, doing his drive-through. There's the pit entry line. You can hear this. Ooh, speeding up there. Hopefully he's coming to a stop, it seems like. I'm not sure if that's going to be ultimately for a retirement or not. Michael Klein side by side yet again with Jono Benz. Mike LaRue, this must be have been for a pit stop because he's all the way back down in P12 now. So drivers are seemingly needing to pit. And in goes Mike LaRue, which is interesting because this seems like it's almost like a second pit stop. It's difficult without seeing a track map. It does look like our Mike is turning into his pit garage. Comes to a stop. Nick Hodson then takes overall lead of this race with a little bit of... Whoa! Some heavy contact at the back of the field. I think that was a back marker. Not sure who that was. Was that Patrick Lingley? I think that might have been Patrick Lingley who we're watching now, the DHL livery. Perhaps... Actually, perhaps not. Apologies if that was wrong. I'm not sure. It may have been Maslin Govender. Actually, the front of Maslin's Audi is looking a little bit crumpled. I wonder if we can detect that. Ooh, a bit of a scuffed windscreen there. And certainly the front bonnet's looking a little crumpled. So I'm guessing with a little bit more surety now that that was Maslin Govender coming into contact with Nick Hodson, who's just exited the bridge section now. So I think that was indeed. I'm going to have a look here at Mike Drew, also coming through the bridge section, all over the back of Ross Bartle's Honda. I think just having done a pit stop to perhaps flip some new tires on, or also maybe fill up with a little fuel. I'm not sure what the strategy is going to be of the guys yet out there. This is the first race of the season. We'll have to hear from the drivers after the race how the cars were in terms of fuel and tire consumption, tire wear, fuel consumption. But Mikhail Matthews now in P7 again, looking to take the fight up to John O'Bence. There's been a little bit of a shake-up at the top end of the field now with these pit stops. So Ross Bartle in the Honda is now taking a provisional podium spot. As we say that, he gets a little slowdown penalty. He is coming up to Michael Klein, but I think that is some traffic ahead of him. Not for position. I don't have it in my dashboard, unfortunately, who has and who hasn't taken a pit stop. So sadly, I can't bring you that information other than just guessing from what I've seen. But it does look like Mike LaRue has actioned at least one pit stop. Renier Leach also has actioned a pit stop, as well as potential drive-through. I'm not sure if he went in twice or not. Wesley Ferrant, Lucky Tiger logo, privateer. Having a good shout here tonight. The longer feature racer cars are somewhat settling out the field now. 13 minutes remaining of this race. We have no idea yet if any of these other front runners are going to pit. Mike LaRue has pitted in the Audi, and P1 and 2, Nick Hodson and Michael Klein also in the Audis. You would think that is indicative that they'll need to stop also, either tires or fuel. I didn't get any insights from the drivers prior to this race. I think a lot of drivers were just trying to keep their cards close to their chest, not give away any secrets ahead of round one. Here we go, side by side. Mike LaRue is overtaking Maslin Govender as he fights his way back up the field following his pit stop. Ross Bartle shooting his way through a back marker. Sparkle looking to find some time on Michael Klein ahead of him here. Interestingly, not opting to tuck himself in behind that Audi to try and get a draft. Perhaps just wanting to run his own line on the optimal racing line, as opposed to following Michael Klein up the inside, which was obviously a very defensive line and going to be suboptimal for rounding the corner and getting a good exit speed up this main start-finish straight, which is most likely Ross Spartle's strategy as he heads now through turn 1 chicane. See JB Sim Racing shouting for the Bences out in chat. Jono Benz currently sitting pretty in P6 for Ghostworks Racing. That Audi, he is surrounded, he's got Wesley Front in front of him, but immediately that is a Honda, which I think is a back marker. There were 2 Hondas out there on track, no, 3, sorry. Ross Bartle, but that's not Ross's, it's one of the Gold Champagne, which is either Sas van der Westhuizen or Rudy Opperman. Let's see if I can figure that out. It is Rudy Opperman, because here we have over the rear wing, just looking at Jono Benz and Mikhail Matthews there in the background. Speaking of Emily Benz, the other Benz in the tunnel, side by side with Roxanne Bartle here, exiting the tunnel. Who's going to come out in front? Emily versus Roxanne, and Emily scooches in front for the time being. That Audi versus BM. Some great driving by these ladies out there onto the back straight now. Mike LaRue just stole fastest lap away from Nick Hodgson. Nick previously had the 1:15.4. Mike LaRue is now got a 1:15.33. Mike LaRue in P12. So following his pit stop, of course, I think he's step fresh boots on, I think, but he is in clear air, so he has the space to run some essentially quali laps. Good fast quick lap times, maybe catch up to the rest of the fields. Sparkle rounding the final corner again, just trying to close that gap down to Michael Klein's yellow Audi. The gap sitting at 0.42 and tumbling as we go down the start finish line. A little bit of a draft, I think, being enjoyed here. Into turn 1 as a chicane. Audi's probably going to have the advantage here. As we say that, it's looking pretty tight. With the rear wing looking back. And that gap opens ever so slightly. I think this is where the Audi has the massive advantage through those tighter corners, even the long sweeping right-hander corner of this one down through into the tunnel. But on the inkling of a straight, I think that's where the Hondas and the Volvos and the BMWs have the advantage back again. Jono Benz is all over the back of Wesley Perrant's Volvo here, looking to find a gap through. Trying to nudge his way side by side. Jono Benz is now going to slip in behind Wesley and try and get as much draft as possible down this long back straight. He's pulling out to the inside. He's going for the dive up the inside corner. And he has that move done, but this is neck and neck. Wesley's tucked in right underneath that wing. I think good move there in the end. Jono Benz paying P5 away from Wesley in P6. Just behind him as well, you can see the Castrol BMW from Mikhail Matthews, aggressive over those curbs actually as well. The flurry of slowdown penalties again issued by the stewards. Mikhail Matthews all over the back. side by side with Wesley Brunt. In fact, I think he has the overlap done already, so he just needs to keep it in check for this next right-hand corner. Ooh, slidey, slidey. That was a very aggressive line. Onto the back straight here. What can Wesley do? Six minutes left of this race. And currently Ross Bartle, who we were just watching, holding on to that provisional podium, final podium slot. Wesley Brunt, meanwhile, sliding that Volvo around. Started on pole position for this race and just got mugged a little bit by the Audis. That being said, Ross Bartle is up there in third with his Honda. ALM Matthews also doing really nicely here in P6 in his BMW. Sliding it around very aggressively. Renier Leach gets another slowdown penalty. The stewards say for continuing to abuse track limits. Very tricky track here with track limits. All the tracks in racing very strict. Matthews in P6, looking to close that gap to John O'Bence ahead through the tunnel. Just let's have a look at what the lap times are between these two gents. We've got Mikhail Matthews, average lap 1:16.59. John O'Bence's average lap is 1:16.52, slightly faster. Mikhail Matthews is far more consistent, 97.73%. versus John O'Bence's 86.32%. Carl Matthews, one of the... Oh, as I say that, commentator's curse. I was about to say one of the most consistent drivers on track we have at the community. And unfortunately, takes that car and turns it around. Ross Bartle, this is position P2. He's diving up the inside of Michael Klein and forcing that pass through. Through the tunnel these cars go. They're still neck and neck. Kyle Matthews behind gets a minor slowdown, as does Emily Bence. As does Rudy Opperman. Almost immediately cleared though, so super minor those track penalties are. It's only when they linger, you know, it's a longer cut. Martin Kronevold, meanwhile, I love this livery. Little tortoise there in the BMW. Closest battle on track right now, Michael Klein on the back of Ross Bartle. The differential between this Audi And Ross Bartle's Honda ahead. And look at some of the stats. Michael Klein is best lap 116.35, Ross Bartle 116.39. So Ross Bartle really got all the hard work here to try and stay ahead. Ross Bartle's consistency, I've just seen, is 99.01%. Michael Klein 98.15%. So just keeping it consistent, Ross Bartle, and you can see it's paying off here. Hanging on to a P2 position. Can he do it for another minute and a bit? And Nick Hudson, meanwhile, not to have forgotten about him, but he's checked out 24 seconds ahead. He obviously hasn't taken that pit stop, which I assumed was necessary after Mike LaRue took an early one, falling down the order to P12. And it looks like he's made the fuel and the tires last, because he's not going to pit now on the final 48 seconds of this race. But this battle for P2 and 3 and 4 as well, Greg Hopart has managed to catch up a little bit. You see Wesley get a slowdown penalty. Wesley front in P6 just behind the slot, but the two yellow Audis have been together almost all race tonight, 1 and 2. Greg Hopart, Jono Benz. The straight, that top speed there by Greg Hopart was 224 kilometers an hour. And Nick Hudson, as the clock hits 0, it's going to be coming through the bridge section for the final time of this race. Where is Michael Klein and Greg Hopart? Nick Hudson, that's on the back of Sheldon Nagullis in the Envirocar BP BMW. Down the back straight they go. Nick, I think, is just going to play it safe for the time being. He doesn't want to bin the car literally on the final corner. But here we go again, rounding the final corner. Nick takes back-to-back wins for the first race in the season. simST, the Super Touring Car Championship. And a fantastic drive by him out there tonight. Ross Bartle is going to come home in a Honda, rounding the final corner now as we speak, to take a well-deserved P2. Fantastic drive. Just behind him, Greg Hopart rounds out the podium. A great finish by him in P3. Michael Klein, I think you can be really happy with that one as well. P4. Jono Benz. Where is Jono in the grand scheme of things? He's already on the slowdown. He's passed and he is in P5 position. Wesley Front taking home a very well-deserved P6 considering that Volvo S40. Mikhail Matthews, P7. Sas van der Veste is in a somewhat quiet race, I think. Auto director not finding him on camera tonight too often. Emily Benz takes home P9. Roxanne Bartle takes home P10. Martin Groenewald P11. Mike LaRue, after that early-ish pit stop, which sadly seems like it may have been unnecessary, falls down the order to finish in P12. Rudy Opperman, P13. Maslin Govender, P14. Patrick Lingley, 15. Sheldon Nagullis, P16. And then it looks like we had some early retirements from Rainier Leach and James Leach. I think just that early DQ due to missing that drive-through penalty that was issued. Fastest lap of the race goes to Mike LaRue, 1:15.337. Just goes to show he had the pace tonight for Venom Motors Racing, but it is Nick Hudson that takes back-to-back victories, and that was round 1 of the season. And I want to thank everyone for watching, whether it's live or the offline video replay later on. Thank you very much for your support, everyone. And I will be back next week, Monday, with SimRace South Africa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. And we will be back with the GT3s racing at Brands Hatch. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a wet one. So keep an eye out for that. And I will be back with you bringing all that action. But for tonight, thanks everyone again. Catch you soon. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.